Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. According to NBC News, retiring Senator Thom Tillis, a Republican from North Carolina, has stated he will continue to block President Trump's nominee for Federal Reserve head, Kevin Warsh. Tillis, a centrist who has occasionally disagreed with the president, insists he will not confirm Warsh until the Trump administration ceases its federal criminal probe into current Fed Chair Jerome Powell, whom Tillis believes has done nothing wrong. The senator, who is Catholic, also criticized Trump's recent attacks on Pope Leo XIV, suggesting the president should apologize for his remarks regarding the Pope's stance on the war with Iran. Furthermore, Tillis voiced concerns about the Trump administration's unclear strategic objectives and rising costs related to the ongoing war in Iran, indicating his support may be withdrawn after 60 days if clarity isn't provided. Eastern Ontario farmers are bracing for a significant increase in the price of locally grown food, a direct consequence of the ongoing U.S. Iran war, as reported by CBC News. The conflict has led to a U.S. military blockade in the Gulf of Oman and Arabian Sea, disrupting global supply chains for essential agricultural inputs. Fuel prices, particularly diesel, have already surged by approximately 33%, exceeding $2 a liter, while urea fertilizer costs have jumped nearly 50%. Farmers like Peter Roffner and Michael Aubie emphasize that these costs are unavoidable, as they cannot compromise on fuel for machinery or fertilizer for crops. This situation is further compounded by last year's drought. Experts like Ly Anderson from Farm Credit Canada note that about a third of global fertilizer trade passes through the Strait of Hormuz, making the blockade's impact substantial. Farmers may need to adapt by switching to less nitrogen-intensive crops, a wild card that could further influence grocery prices. Transportation costs are also rising, with CN Rail implementing fuel surcharges. Farmers hope consumers will understand these complex factors behind inevitable price increases. CTV News reports that the City of Toronto has announced a significant investment of $10 million aimed at accelerating the design phase of the Scarborough Light Rail Transit (LRT) project. This funding is specifically allocated to expedite the planning and engineering work, with the goal of moving the development of the Scarborough LRT forward more quickly. The city's commitment underscores its dedication to improving public transit infrastructure in Scarborough, a key priority for residents. This strategic investment is expected to help streamline the project's initial stages, potentially reducing overall timelines for its eventual completion and bringing much-needed transit improvements to the community sooner. CTV News reports on a significant development in Canadian policy. The federal government is considering a social media ban for children. Former Crown Attorney Margot Dename has voiced strong support for this potential measure, describing it as an excellent step forward for Canada. This initiative appears to be gaining broad political consensus, as the article highlights that it has garnered support from all political parties in Ottawa. The discussion centers on the potential positive impacts of such a ban on children, with Dename's comments underscoring the perceived benefits for the nation. This cross-party backing suggests a concerted effort to address concerns surrounding youth and social media use. The Canadian Real Estate Association, (CREA), has significantly downgraded its outlook for home sales activity in 2026, attributing the revision to a shaky economic start to the year. According to the Canadian Press, CREA now forecasts a total of 474,972 residential properties to be sold throughout 2026, This represents a mere 1% increase from 2025, a notable reduction from its earlier January prediction of 5.1% year-over-year growth. The report also highlighted a decline in actual sales figures for March, with the number of homes sold across the country falling by 2.3% compared to the previous year. Concurrently, the national average home price is now expected to climb by 1.5% annually to $688,955 in 2026, which is approximately $10,000 lower than the association's January projection. In March alone, the national average sale price experienced a 0.8% decrease year-over-year, settling at $673,084. Furthermore, CREA's own home price index saw a slight 0.4% dip between February and March, and a more substantial 4.7% decline on an annual basis. The association pointed to rising global economic uncertainty and an increase in fixed mortgage rates, driven by incoming higher inflation, as key factors contributing to the subdued market conditions. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.